As the heated debate raged on in the Galactic Council chamber, Ambassador Zaxir of the Zorgothian Empire slammed his fist on the podium, his voice booming through the cacophony of voices. "The humans have gone too far this time," he bellowed, his eyes narrowing with suspicion. "Their rapid advancements in technology are a threat to the stability of our galactic community. We cannot allow them to continue unchecked." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the gathered alien representatives, each harboring their own reservations about the growing influence of the human race. The humans, relative newcomers to the intergalactic stage, had already made significant strides in fields ranging from space exploration to quantum computing, and their latest rumored invention had set the Council on edge. Amidst the clamor, Ambassador Illyria of the Celestial Concordat raised her voice, her melodic tones cutting through the noise. "While we cannot ignore the potential risks posed by the humans' advancements, we must also acknowledge the benefits their innovations have brought to our civilizations," she argued, her iridescent eyes scanning the room. "Their breakthroughs in medical technology alone have saved countless lives across the galaxy." The chamber erupted once more as opposing factions clashed, each vying to have their opinions heard. Some called for strict regulations on human technological development, while others advocated for greater cooperation and knowledge sharing between species. As the debate spiraled into a frenzy of accusations and counter-arguments, a figure cloaked in an aura of calm entered the chamber. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to the esteemed mediator, Zephyr, known for their wisdom and impartiality in resolving galactic disputes. Zephyr's voice, soft yet commanding, filled the chamber. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, let us not be hasty in our judgments," they began, their gaze sweeping across the assembled representatives. "The human race, while young and ambitious, has shown great potential for growth and collaboration. It is our duty, as the guardians of peace and progress in the galaxy, to approach this matter with open minds and a willingness to find common ground." The mediator's words hung in the air, a gentle reminder of the Council's purpose and the importance of unity in the face of the unknown. Slowly, the tension in the room began to dissipate as the representatives considered Zephyr's message. Ambassador Zaxir, his anger tempered by the mediator's intervention, spoke once more, his tone measured. "Perhaps Zephyr is right," he conceded, though a hint of reluctance lingered in his voice. "We should gather more information about this rumored invention before making any rash decisions. But mark my words, if the humans prove to be a threat to our way of life, we must be prepared to take action." Nods of agreement punctuated the ambassador's statement, a sentiment shared by many in the room. The Galactic Council, responsible for maintaining order and balance among the diverse civilizations of the galaxy, could not afford to underestimate the potential impact of the human race's advancements. As the session adjourned, the representatives dispersed, each lost in their own thoughts and speculations about the future. The rumored human invention loomed large in their minds, a source of both fascination and fear. Some hoped for a new era of cooperation and progress, while others braced themselves for the possibility of conflict. In the depths of space, on a small blue planet called Earth, Dr. Eliza Hoffman stood on the precipice of a breakthrough that would change the course of galactic history. Unaware of the storm brewing in the Galactic Council, she pored over the schematics of her creation, a device that promised to unlock the secrets of the universe itself. Little did she know that her invention would soon become the catalyst for a chain of events that would test the limits of human ingenuity and determination, and forever alter the balance of power in the galaxy. The wheels of fate had been set in motion, and the universe held its breath, waiting for the moment when the human race would break the very limits of what was thought possible. Dr. Eliza Hoffman stood before a sea of eager faces, the anticipation palpable in the air. The unveiling of her groundbreaking invention had drawn a diverse crowd of scientists, dignitaries, and journalists from across the galaxy. As she stepped onto the stage, the murmurs of the audience faded into an expectant hush. "Today," she began, her voice filled with conviction, "we stand on the brink of a new era in scientific achievement. For centuries, we have gazed upon the stars, dreaming of the secrets they hold. We have sought to unravel the mysteries of the universe, to harness its power for the betterment of all species. And now, after years of tireless research and unwavering determination, I present to you the fruits of our labor. With a dramatic flourish, Dr. Hoffman unveiled a sleek obsidian device that seemed to absorb the very light around it. The audience gasped in awe as the invention pulsed with an otherworldly energy, its surface etched with intricate patterns that danced and shifted before their eyes. "This," Dr. Hoffman declared, her eyes gleaming with pride, "is the Singularity Engine, a device capable of harnessing the raw power of a black hole, the most enigmatic and destructive force in the universe. With this technology, we can tap into an endless source of energy, revolutionizing the way we power our cities, propel our starships, and push the boundaries of scientific exploration." The audience erupted in a mix of applause and excited whispers, the implications of Dr. Hoffman's invention sending shockwaves through the gathered crowd. Some marveled at the potential for a new age of abundance and prosperity, while others exchanged nervous glances, contemplating the risks of wielding such immense power. As the initial excitement subsided, a voice rang out from the audience. "Dr. Hoffman, while your invention is indeed impressive, what safeguards have you put in place to prevent its misuse?" The speaker, a renowned Galactic Council member known for their cautious approach to new technologies, fixed the scientist with a probing stare. Dr. Hoffman met the council member's gaze, her expression resolute. "I assure you, we have taken every precaution to ensure that the Singularity Engine is used responsibly and ethically. The device is equipped with multiple fail-safes and security measures to prevent unauthorized access or misuse. Furthermore, we propose the establishment of an international regulatory body to oversee the development and deployment of this technology, ensuring that it benefits all of galactic society." The council member nodded, somewhat mollified by Dr. Hoffman's response, but the seed of doubt had been planted. As the presentation continued, the audience hung on every word, their minds racing with the possibilities and perils of this revolutionary invention. In the days and weeks that followed, news of the Singularity Engine spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Governments and corporations alike clamored for a chance to secure the technology for themselves, each eager to gain a competitive edge in the ever-shifting landscape of galactic politics and economics. Meanwhile, in the shadowy depths of the universe, whispers of the human invention reached the ears of those who sought to wield its power for their own nefarious purposes. One such individual was the ruthless warlord Zorgan, a being whose ambition and cruelty knew no bounds. As he sat upon his throne of twisted metal, Zorgan's eyes glittered with malice. "The humans have created a weapon of unimaginable power," he mused, his voice dripping with a hungry anticipation. "With the Singularity Engine in my grasp, I could bring the galaxy to its knees, and all would tremble before the might of the Zorgothian Empire." Zorgan's lieutenants, a motley assortment of mercenaries and rogues, nodded in eager agreement, their minds already filled with visions of conquest and glory. The warlord's lips curled into a predatory smile as he set his plans in motion, determined to seize the human invention and bend it to his will. Back on Earth, Dr. Hoffman and her team worked tirelessly to refine the Singularity Engine, unaware of the gathering storm that threatened to engulf them. As the device's power grew, so too did the stakes, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, poised on the precipice of a new era, where the ambitions of one species could reshape the very fabric of reality itself. The Galactic Council, still reeling from the implications of Dr. Hoffman's invention, convened an emergency session to address the growing concerns surrounding the Singularity Engine. Representatives from across the galaxy filled the council chamber, their faces etched with a mixture of awe and apprehension. As the session commenced, the Zorgothian ambassador, Zaxxer, wasted no time in voicing his demands. The human race must share this technology with the rest of the galaxy, he declared, his voice dripping with a thinly veiled threat. It is far too powerful to be left in the hands of a single species. The Galactic Council must intervene to ensure that the Singularity Engine is distributed fairly and equitably among all civilizations. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber as many of the assembled representatives nodded in assent. The potential for the Singularity Engine to upset the balance of power in the galaxy was not lost on them, and the idea of the humans holding such a significant technological advantage was deeply unsettling. However, not all members of the Council were so easily swayed. Ambassador Illyria of the Celestial Concordat rose to speak, her melodic voice cutting through the growing clamor. While I understand the concerns raised by Ambassador Zaxxer, we must remember that the Singularity Engine is the product of human ingenuity and innovation. It is not our place to demand that they share their technology, but rather to foster a spirit of cooperation and mutual understanding between our civilizations. The chamber erupted into a heated debate, with each representative passionately arguing their position. Some called for the immediate seizure of the Singularity Engine, citing the greater good of the galaxy, while others advocated for a more diplomatic approach, urging the Council to engage in open dialogue with the human race. As the debate raged on, tensions between the Council and Earth's leaders began to mount. The human government, fiercely protective of their technological breakthrough, refused to bow to the Council's demands. They argued that the Singularity Engine was the result of years of human research and development, and that they had every right to control its distribution and use. The Galactic Council, frustrated by the humans' intransigence, issued a series of increasingly strident ultimatums, threatening economic sanctions and even military action if the humans did not comply with their demands. Earth's leaders, however, remained steadfast in their resolve, unwilling to compromise their sovereignty or their technological advantage. As negotiations between the two sides broke down, the galaxy teetered on the brink of conflict. The Zorgothian Empire, sensing an opportunity to exploit the growing tensions, began to secretly mobilize their forces, preparing for a strike against Earth to seize the Singularity Engine for themselves. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Hoffman and her team worked tirelessly to fortify the security measures surrounding the Singularity Engine. They knew that the device's power made it an irresistible target for those who sought to use it for their own gain, and they were determined to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. As the stalemate between Earth and the Galactic Council deepened, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The humans, once seen as a promising new addition to the galactic community, now found themselves isolated and beset by enemies on all sides. In the depths of space, Zorgan's fleet gathered, poised to strike at the heart of human civilization. The warlord's eyes gleamed with a malevolent hunger as he anticipated the moment when the Singularity Engine would be his, and with it, the power to bend the galaxy to his will. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the future of not only the human race, but the entire galaxy. The Singularity Engine, a marvel of human ingenuity, had become a catalyst for a conflict that threatened to tear the very fabric of galactic society asunder. As the various factions maneuvered for position, each driven by their own agendas and desires, the fate of countless worlds rested on the outcome of the coming storm. As tensions between Earth and the Galactic Council reached a boiling point, Zorgan saw his chance to strike. With a fierce battle cry, he ordered his fleet to launch a surprise attack on Earth, catching the human defenses off guard. The skies above Earth's cities darkened as the Zorgothian warships descended, their weapons primed and ready to wreak havoc. The human military scrambled to respond, but they were woefully unprepared for the sheer might of Zorgan's forces. The alien ships tore through the human defenses like a hot knife through butter, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Buildings crumbled, fires raged, and the streets were filled with the sounds of chaos and despair. Amidst the carnage, Zorgan's elite strike team fought their way into the heavily fortified facility where the Singularity Engine was being held. The human guards, outmatched and outnumbered, could only watch in horror as the Zorgothian soldiers breached the final layers of security and laid their hands on the coveted device. Dr. Hoffman, alerted to the breach, raced to the lab, her heart pounding with fear and desperation. She arrived just in time to see Zorgan himself, a towering figure clad in battle armor, holding the Singularity engine aloft with a triumphant roar. The scientist's eyes widened in horror as she realized the full extent of the catastrophe that had befallen her world. With the Singularity engine in his grasp, Zorgan wasted no time in unleashing its power upon the battered human forces. The device pulsed with an otherworldly energy, and suddenly, the tide of the battle shifted. Human weapons were rendered useless against the Zorgothian ships, their attacks bouncing harmlessly off the reinforced hulls. The human military, faced with an enemy that seemed invincible, began to crumble under the onslaught. Soldiers fled in terror, their courage shattered by the sight of the Zorgothian fleet's unstoppable advance. The once proud cities of Earth were reduced to rubble, and the skies were filled with the acrid smoke of defeat. As the battle raged on, Dr. Hoffman watched in despair as everything she had worked for was torn apart before her very eyes. The Singularity engine, her greatest achievement, had become a weapon of unimaginable destruction in the hands of a ruthless warlord. The Galactic Council, watching the events unfold from afar, could only look on in horror as the human race was pushed to the brink of annihilation. The once promising species, who had shown such potential for growth and innovation, now lay broken and battered, their dreams of a brighter future shattered by the cruel realities of galactic conflict. Zorgan, flush with victory, set his sights on the rest of the galaxy, his ambitions growing with each passing moment. With the Singularity engine at his command, he saw himself as the undisputed ruler of all civilizations, a conqueror who would bend the very fabric of the universe to his will. As the Zorgothian fleet prepared to depart Earth, leaving behind a world in ruins, Dr. Hoffman watched from the shadows, her heart heavy with the weight of her failure. She knew that the road ahead would be long and perilous, but she also knew that the human spirit was resilient. Even in their darkest hour, the people of Earth would not give up hope. With a newfound resolve burning in her heart, Dr. Hoffman began to formulate a plan. She would find a way to stop Zorgan, to reclaim the Singularity engine, and restore balance to the galaxy. It would be a battle fought not just with weapons, but with the power of the human mind, the ingenuity and determination that had brought them to the stars in the first place. As the smoke of battle began to clear, the true struggle for the fate of the galaxy was only just beginning. The human race, battered but unbroken, would rise from the ashes of their defeat, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead. For in the face of adversity, the human spirit had always proven itself to be indomitable, and it would be that spirit that would light the way forward, even in the darkest of times. Dr. Eliza Hoffman, her face streaked with soot and her eyes burning with determination, gathered the remnants of her research team in the ruins of their once proud facility. The Zorgothian attack had left them battered and broken, but their resolve remained unshakable. They knew that the fate of not only Earth, but the entire galaxy rested on their shoulders. "We can't let Zorgan win," Dr. Hoffman declared, her voice cutting through the eerie silence that had settled over the devastated lab. "The Singularity engine is our creation, and it's our responsibility to ensure that it doesn't remain in the hands of a madman." Her team, though weary and wounded, nodded in agreement. They had poured their hearts and souls into the development of the Singularity engine, and the thought of it being wielded as a weapon of conquest was too much to bear. With a newfound sense of purpose, Dr. Hoffman and her team set to work, poring over the schematics of the Singularity engine, searching for any weakness or vulnerability that they could exploit. They worked tirelessly, fueled by a mixture of desperation and determination, knowing that every moment they delayed was another moment that Zorgan grew stronger. As they delved deeper into the intricacies of the device, Dr. Hoffman had a sudden epiphany. The Singularity engine, though incredibly powerful, was not indestructible. By modifying the device's core programming, they could transform it into a weapon capable of targeting and neutralizing Zorgan's fleet. The team set to work, their fingers flying across keyboards and soldering irons as they raced against the clock. They modified the Singularity engine's power source, increasing its output to levels that would have been considered impossible just days before. They rewrote its targeting algorithms, honing them to a razor's edge, capable of seeking out and destroying the Zorgothian ships with pinpoint accuracy. As the modified singularity engine began to take shape, Dr. Hoffman knew that they were taking a tremendous risk. The device, already unstable in its original form, was now a seething mass of barely contained energy, threatening to tear itself apart at any moment. But they had no choice. The alternative was too horrific to contemplate. With the modified singularity engine loaded onto a hastily constructed launch vehicle, Dr. Hoffman and her team prepared for their final stand. They knew that they would only have one chance to strike at Zorgan's fleet, one opportunity to turn the tide of the war. As the launch vehicle streaked towards the Zorgothian armada, Dr. Hoffman closed her eyes, silently praying to whatever gods might be listening. She knew that the odds were stacked against them, that the chances of success were slim. But she also knew that the human spirit had a way of defying the odds, of finding a way to triumph even in the face of overwhelming adversity. The modified singularity engine detonated amidst the Zorgothian fleet, its energy tearing through the alien ships like a hot knife through butter. The device, designed to harness the power of a black hole, now unleashed that power upon the invaders, ripping their ships apart at the seams and scattering their remains across the stars. Zorgan, watching in horror as his fleet was decimated before his very eyes, let out a howl of rage and despair. He had been so close to victory, so close to achieving his dreams of conquest and domination. But the humans, those infuriating, stubborn creatures, had once again found a way to thwart his plans. As the last of the Zorgothian ships was consumed by the fury of the modified singularity engine, a cheer went up from the surviving human forces. They had done the impossible, had snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. The singularity engine, the device that had once been their greatest hope and their greatest fear, had become their salvation. But even as they celebrated their triumph, Dr. Hoffman knew that their struggle was far from over. The galaxy had been shaken to its very core by the events of the past few days, and the aftershocks would be felt for generations to come. The human race had proven itself to be a force to be reckoned with, but they had also made enemies that would not soon forget their humiliation. As the smoke of battle began to clear and the wounds of war began to heal, Dr. Hoffman knew that the true test of the human spirit was yet to come. They had won the battle, but the war for the future of the galaxy was only just beginning. The Galactic Council, still reeling from the shocking turn of events, convened an emergency session to assess the ramifications of the human victory. The chamber was filled with a palpable tension as the representatives of countless worlds grappled with the new reality that had been thrust upon them. Ambassador Zaxxer, his face twisted with a mixture of anger and disbelief, was the first to speak. The humans have proven themselves to be a dangerous and unpredictable force, he snarled, his eyes blazing with barely contained fury. They have unleashed a weapon of unimaginable power, and in doing so, they have upset the delicate balance of power that has maintained peace in our galaxy for generations. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber, as many of the assembled representatives nodded in assent. The human race, once seen as a relatively insignificant player on the galactic stage, had now demonstrated a level of technological prowess that put them on par with the most advanced civilizations in the known universe. Ambassador Illyria, her voice heavy with concern, rose to address the council. While I understand the fears and concerns expressed by my esteemed colleague, she began, her gaze sweeping across the room, we must also recognize that the humans acted in self-defense. They were attacked without provocation, and they used the tools at their disposal to protect themselves and their way of life. The chamber erupted into a cacophony of voices as the representatives argued back and forth, each trying to make their case for how to deal with the human threat. Some called for immediate sanctions and a complete quarantine of Earth, while others advocated for a more measured approach, one that would seek to understand and engage with the humans rather than isolate them. As the debate raged on, A sense of unease began to settle over the council. The balance of power had indeed shifted, and the implications of that shift were only beginning to be understood. The human race, once seen as a potential ally and partner, was now viewed with a mixture of fear and suspicion, a wild card that could upend the carefully constructed order of the galaxy. On Earth, the news of the Council's deliberations spread like wildfire, sparking a wave of both celebration and apprehension. Many hailed the victory over the Zorgothian fleet as a triumph of the human spirit, a testament to the ingenuity and determination that had carried them to the stars. But others, more cautious and measured in their assessment, warned that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges and dangers. Dr. Hoffman, still reeling from the events of the past few days, found herself at the center of a media firestorm. Journalists and pundits from across the galaxy clamored for her attention, each seeking to understand the mind behind the Singularity engine and the role she had played in the human victory. But even as she fielded questions and deflected inquiries, Dr. Hoffman's mind was consumed with the greater implications of her actions. She had set out to create a device that would change the course of human history, but in doing so, she had also unleashed a force that threatened to tear the very fabric of galactic society asunder. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the true scope of the human victory began to come into focus. The Zorgothian Empire, once seen as an unstoppable juggernaut, had been humbled and diminished, its power and influence greatly reduced. Other civilizations, sensing an opportunity to fill the void left by the Zorgothians, began to jockey for position, each seeking to assert their own dominance and authority. And at the center of it all, the human race found itself caught in a web of political intrigue and galactic power plays, their every move scrutinized and analyzed by friend and foe alike. The Singularity engine, the device that had once been their greatest hope and their greatest fear, had now become a symbol of their ascendancy, a reminder to all who looked upon it that the balance of power had indeed shifted, and that the galaxy would never be the same again. The dust settled, revealing a galaxy forever altered by the human victory over the Zorgothian fleet. Earth, once a small, relatively unknown planet, now found itself at the center of galactic attention. The Singularity engine, the device that had turned the tide of the war, became a symbol of human ingenuity and power, but also a source of fear and mistrust among the other civilizations. Dr. Eliza Hoffman, the brilliant scientist behind the Singularity engine, found herself thrust into the role of Earth's de facto ambassador. She was called upon to navigate the treacherous waters of galactic diplomacy, to forge new alliances, and maintain the delicate balance of power that had been so recently upended. The task proved to be a daunting one. Many of the galactic civilizations, still reeling from the shock of the human victory, viewed Earth with a mixture of awe and apprehension. They marveled at the technological prowess that had allowed the humans to defeat the mighty Zorgothian Empire, but they also feared the potential consequences of that power falling into the wrong hands. Dr. Hoffman worked tirelessly to assuage those fears, to demonstrate that Earth was a responsible and benevolent member of the galactic community. She negotiated treaties and trade agreements, fostered cultural exchanges and scientific collaborations, and worked to build bridges of understanding between Earth and its galactic neighbors. But even as she made progress on the diplomatic front, Dr. Hoffman knew that the true challenge lay in maintaining Earth's technological edge. The Singularity engine, for all its power and potential, was still a largely untested and unstable technology. There were those on Earth who argued that the device should be dismantled, that its power was too great, and its risks too high. Dr. Hoffman, however, believed that the Singularity engine represented a unique opportunity for Earth to assert its place in the galaxy. She argued that by continuing to develop and refine the technology, Earth could not only maintain its position of strength, but also use its power to promote peace and stability throughout the galaxy. To that end, Dr. Hoffman and her team worked tirelessly to improve the Singularity engine, to make it more stable, more efficient, and more versatile. They explored new applications for the technology, from energy production to space exploration to medical research. As Earth's technological capabilities grew, so too did its influence on the galactic stage. Other civilizations began to seek out Earth's expertise and assistance, recognizing the value of the human perspective and the potential benefits of collaboration. But even as Earth's star rose, there were those who watched from the shadows, plotting and scheming to undermine the human ascendancy. The Zorgothian Empire, though diminished, had not been completely destroyed, and its leaders still nursed a deep and abiding hatred for the humans who had humiliated them. Other factions, too, saw Earth's growing power as a threat to their own ambitions. They worked to sow discord and division among the galactic civilizations, to turn them against Earth and against each other. Dr. Hoffman and her allies fought tirelessly to counter these machinations, to maintain the fragile peace that had been so hard won. They knew that the stakes were higher than ever before, that the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy hung in the balance. As the years passed, Earth's place in the galaxy continued to evolve and change. New challenges arose, new alliances were forged, and new enemies emerged from the shadows. But through it all, the human spirit remained unbroken. The determination and ingenuity that had carried them to the stars continuing to guide them forward. And at the center of it all, the Singularity Engine remained a symbol of human achievement and potential, a reminder of the power that lay within the human heart and mind. It was a power that had brought them to the brink of destruction, but also a power that had the potential to reshape the galaxy itself, to create a future of unimaginable wonders and possibilities. Only time would tell what that future would hold, but one thing was certain. The human race would face it head-on, armed with the courage, the determination, and the indomitable spirit that had always been their greatest strength. Years had passed since the fateful day when Dr. Eliza Hoffman and her team had unleashed the modified Singularity Engine upon the Zorgothian fleet, forever altering the balance of power in the galaxy. The human race had emerged from the crucible of war stronger and more united than ever before, but also keenly aware of the responsibilities and challenges that came with their newfound status as a galactic superpower. Dr. Hoffman, now widely regarded as one of the most influential figures in human history, had dedicated herself to finding ways to harness the power of the Singularity Engine for the betterment of all species. She had long since realized that the device, for all its destructive potential, also held within it the key to unlocking the new era of unprecedented prosperity and progress. In a stunning announcement that reverberated across the galaxy, Dr. Hoffman revealed that she and her team had made a series of groundbreaking discoveries that would allow them to tap into the full potential of the Singularity Engine. By carefully manipulating the quantum fields generated by the device, they had found a way to create stable wormholes, enabling near-instantaneous travel between even the most distant corners of the galaxy. But Dr. Hoffman's vision didn't stop there. She proposed a bold new plan to share the technology with all the civilizations of the galaxy, to create a vast network of wormhole gateways that would bring the stars themselves within reach of even the most humble of species. The announcement sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Some hailed it as the dawn of a new golden age, a time of unparalleled cooperation and discovery. Others, however, viewed it with suspicion and fear, worried that the human race was once again overstepping its bounds and meddling with forces beyond its control. Dr. Hoffman, anticipating these concerns, was quick to propose a comprehensive framework of regulations and safeguards designed to ensure that the technology would be used responsibly and for the benefit of all. She called for the creation of a new galactic governing body, one that would oversee the deployment and operation of the wormhole network and ensure that its benefits were distributed fairly and equitably. The Galactic Council, after much deliberation and debate, ultimately agreed to Dr. Hoffman's proposal. They recognized that the potential benefits of the technology far outweighed the risks, and that the human race had earned the right to take a leading role in shaping the future of the galaxy. And so, with a sense of both trepidation and excitement, the great powers of the galaxy began the monumental task of building the wormhole network. Vast construction projects sprang up on countless worlds as engineers and scientists from every corner of the galaxy worked together to bring Dr. Hoffman's vision to life. As the network took shape, the true scope of its potential began to become clear. Trade and commerce flourished as never before, as goods and ideas flowed freely between the stars. Scientific breakthroughs that had once taken decades now happened in a matter of months, as researchers from 1,000 different worlds collaborated and shared their knowledge. And at the center of it all stood the human race, once a small and insignificant species on the galactic stage, now the architects of a new era of wonder and discovery. Dr. Hoffman, the woman who had started it all, watched with a sense of profound humility and gratitude as her dream of a united galaxy began to take shape before her eyes. She knew that the road ahead would not be easy, that there would be challenges and setbacks along the way. But she also knew that the human spirit, the same spirit that had carried them from the savannas of Africa to the stars themselves, would never rest in its pursuit of a better tomorrow. As the first wormhole gateway flickered to life, bathing the assembled dignitaries in its ethereal glow, Dr. Hoffman felt a sense of hope and possibility that she had never known before. The future was unwritten, but one thing was certain. The human race would face it head-on, armed with the courage, the determination, and the boundless vision that had always been their greatest strength. And so, with a sense of profound purpose and unwavering resolve, the people of Earth and their galactic allies stepped forward into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges and wonders the universe had in store for them. The age of the singularity had begun, and with it, a new chapter in the story of the galaxy itself.